Hey, what's up, family? What's up? Welcome to basically a preview, a prequel to the return of the Future Wives Club. Tonight I'm coming on live 5:30 p.m. Monday evening because this is going to be the time that we have our weekly engagement with everybody that wants to be a part of the Future Wives Club. Now, some of y'all might not remember this club. Back in 2017, I really felt like drawn, compelled to host something called the Future Wives Club. It was monthly live. We had 8 sessions and we got into how to have the healthiest relationships of our lives. And I'm going to tell you that now in 2021, I feel like it's more relevant than ever for us to get into having healthy relationships. I think the current events, the state of the world has really pushed us in to looking at who we're close to and who's here for us in a time of difficulty. And some of us have been locked up with our beloveds at home for a long time. And we either fallen deeper in love or realize that maybe you were with the wrong one. And I think in the light of all of that, I hear more people talking to me than I have in years about wanting to find companionship, like not just be chosen or have somebody that looks good, but really wanting to find somebody that they connect with, that they can have a satisfying, healthy, fulfilling relationship with. And that they also want to be the kind of partner that supports, encourages, is kind, builds someone up, helps them fulfill their potential, helps them live out the purpose, the destiny, the dreams, the hopes, all the things that they have in their heart and can really build a home together. So, that's why I'm here tonight. This is sort of a ramp up session. And I realize when you see this, you might go, wow, what is the Future Wise Club? What's she talking about? This is a group of women, different women now, because some of them have gone on and been married since 2017. But this is a group of women. Turn off my ringer, okay? That that either is like in relationships and yo, somebody's texting me right now. Like, is it happening tonight? And I just text her like, we on now. Yeah, this is a group of women who is either in relationships and you want to figure out how to strengthen it, confirm if this is the right person, and figure out how you can become the right person to actually be a wife, to be prepared for marriage, or women who not even in a relationship right now, but you're looking to find someone. And this is a great time to get that quality wisdom, right? That says, okay, how do I prepare myself before I even get into a relationship? And how do I identify the person to get into that relationship with? But we also had members in the Future Wives Club who were already wives, especially if you're in the first few years. There's a lot of great things to learn. And I appreciate those wives who do join in. And I'm going to be calling on some of my friends, some sisters who have lived through different things and have different stories and can contribute. So, about now, I should be introducing myself just in case this is being shared with someone who doesn't know me at some point. My name's Kimberly Stotzer. I am your Future Wives Club coach. I am a wife. I've been married for 14 years. I have two very vivacious little boys who you might hear or see pop onto this stream at some time. Don't be surprised. They're 4 and 7. It's life. And I've also got a ministry with my husband. I've been a faith-based counselor and minister for the past. Ooh, that's gonna give my age away. Mm. Well, for longer than the 14 years that I've been married. And I'm okay with that, giving my age away. I was just teasing about that. And I found that through mentorship from some older couples, man, there's some amazing things to be seen about marriage. Things that you need to sit with somebody who's been married 35 years, 45 years. But honestly, in the beginning, if you can just get with someone who's been married for 10 years, you might be able to glean some wisdom. So I want to talk about that. We want to talk about things like how to know who to listen to, right? Because you can't listen to everybody about how to build a healthy and a responsive and satisfying relationship. It's really important that you become wise about where to get your information from. Listen, everybody's got advice, but not everybody's advice is good for you. And how can you identify who are the wise counselors that are going to give you wise advice that actually applies to your situation that you can take in and take in deep versus people who are just voicing their opinion, versus skeptics who have only learned what not to do but haven't yet learned what to do. Because taking in only skepticism just makes a skeptic out of you, and that doesn't actually help you build what's healthy, right? So um, how do we hear the people that are talking to us? How do we choose who to listen to and who to watch? How do you identify couples who are living what you want to be living for real and not just for show on IG with some photographs, okay? And how do you get in position to learn from them? I take the wisdom of the elders. Yeah, those books, right? Some of the books that our mentors have written, our mentors in marriage, uh, both couples actually have written books on cleansing from rejection, on how to set a vision for a marriage, and they're amazing. As well as other books from other authors who are. I saw couples in tears who had been married for 20 years, going, "Why didn't somebody tell me this stuff in the beginning or before I ever got married?" I want to bring that stuff to you before you even get into the marriage, if possible, right? There's a lot of things that are universal. You don't have to stumble through them on your own. And I hope to explain some mysteries, make some things clear. Hey, I don't know if my husband is one of the people I see watching right now, but if you are, honey, could you please stop the children from playing Beyblades in the room next to me? They're really loud and it's really distracting. Okay. Yeah, yeah. So I want to get real with it, right? Getting real about life and how it's influencing us. Having kids is a big influence. For me and my husband, having a ministry out of our house, huge thing that pulls on a marriage, right? But just business, having to go to work, uh, those pursuits. If either one of you is an entrepreneur or a business runner, that's a lifestyle. It's a difference there. How do you identify if you're walking with somebody who's choosing the kind of lifestyle that you want to be living so that you can agree on it together, right? That's the stuff we want to talk about here. You know, the greatest wisdom of all, yeah, this is definitely a Christian based, faith based approach. The greatest wisdom of all comes from the Holy Scripture, comes from the Bible. So we're going to pull the very ancient wisdom of the scripture and apply it to modern relationships and figure out how does that work in 2021? What does that look like? You know, one of my favorite proverbs says, get wisdom, but in all you're getting, get an understanding. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's one thing to have knowledge, guys. Knowledge is when you have data, you have facts in front of you. Okay? You got information about relationships. You got information about the person you're with. Information about yourself. You don't know everything, but you know something. But having information doesn't mean that you understand the information. Doesn't mean you know how to separate it mentally, discern it, figure out what it means. That's called understanding. And then what to do with that information, what to do with that understanding. That's called wisdom. So Proverbs says, get wisdom. Like it's the main thing. Get wisdom. Get what to do. And in all you're getting, make sure you get an understanding of why you're doing what you're doing. And that's the spirit behind what we're doing together on the Future Wives Club. Man, let's get some wisdom, like what to do about these relationships. And then while we're getting that, let's get an understanding about why we're doing this so that we can build something that actually lasts, that goes a bit longer, that lives out a bit stronger than what we see happening all around us. It means we got to dig into something ancient. We got to get into some wisdom that can really endure, that has been enduring for generations and for thousands of years. Ladies, I want to talk about a few things, but go into great depths with them. Number one is you. you as a person being ready, you as a person being prepared, you as a woman knowing your first love, your first love. If you are looking to get satisfied romantically and you haven't yet encountered the love of God, I'm telling you, every dude is eventually going to fail because there are some parts of you, there are some places in your soul that no man can reach. And even if he seems to tap it for a second, it's going to eventually let you down because there's some things that only God can do for you. And so you're going to hear me refer to that many times. Hey, there's some things that only God can get to. So having your spiritual development and your spiritual growth on the rise is going to position you to have healthier, more satisfying relationships because you'll give God the things that only God can do, and you'll come to the relationship requiring the things from a man that a man should do. You're also going to look at how you can be sure to be growing, to be developing, not only spiritually, but just personally within your soul. It's important. Learning how to relate well. Some of us relate in ways that have been completely sabotaging our relationships. Yo, honey, I love you. And we haven't even really gotten started with Future Wives Club yet. This is just a prequel, right? But hear me. Some of you have been sabotaging your relationships, thinking that what you were doing is what it meant to be strong, what it meant to be fierce, what it meant to be you. When in reality, what you're calling you is just a coping mechanism learned by your mothers or their mothers beforehand in response to pain or injury or rejection that they never should have faced in the first place. And now to get through that affliction, they hardened themselves and then they taught it to their daughters and that daughter taught it to the next daughter. And now the whole family knows nothing but how to be bitter, broken, and put up walls. And you think it's just strong. And how do you know if you're one of these? Man, we have to humble ourselves. If we just commit to grow and humble ourselves and be open to the wisdom of the scriptures and the wisdom of, those elders who are living the kind of relationships that we want to see ourselves in, we can maybe start to see some simple things that we could change in the way that we relate that stop sabotaging those relationships. I'm going to be real with you about what that stuff is because, to be honest, some of you beautiful women have actually pushed away the love that you're looking for and pulled close to you people who do things that hurt you because it's more familiar to you. So we're going to talk about what that looks like and how to stop doing that. Yeah. We're also going to talk about him, the proverbial him, whoever he is. Okay. The him that you're hoping to be with. To make a list or not to make a list. To hold on to the list or to break the list. We're going to talk about what we should look for. What's the difference between things that are fundamental, that if they don't exist, you can't build a home together, versus those things that really should be optional and that we shouldn't use to disqualify otherwise very good men. We're going to look at the ways that we've been treated outside of our romantic relationships by men in our lives and how they're informing the way we interpret romantic relationships with the men in our lives. We're going to look at what is and is not completely not acceptable so that any of you who are being abused or mistreated can identify it and back away from that relationship right away. We're also going to talk about ways to grow if you find that it's not that you're being abused or mistreated, but something's not working and maybe it could. Something doesn't fit. What are some things we can do in that relationship to see if it can work out to come to the point of marriage? And listen, it's very different leading up to marriage than it is when you are married. If you're married and it's not working, you're figuring out how to make it work unless it's abuse, in which case you're figuring out how to get safe first. But when you're leading up to marriage, remember, you're not looking just to be chosen. You're choosing somebody. Don't see marriage as some kind of award that pretty women get or clever women get. Clever, that's a really old word right now, but don't see that as like some accolade that you've been chosen. Remember that marriage is you choosing. You're choosing the most impactful relationship of your life. this significant influence that's going to touch every area of your life for the rest of your life if you keep the covenant till death do us part. Have your eyes open to choosing well, not just to being chosen. And then we're going to look at ways to set up healthy communication and to sustain ongoing growth when the relationship is already going well. So, I'm very excited about these conversations. I can see us meeting weekly, and I'll share information with you, and then I'll open up the opportunity to ask questions, and we can have a little dialogue back and forth every Monday night at 5:30 p.m. live. So this is just a ramp up. I encourage you to, obviously follow Firehouse. You're probably watching this on Firehouse now. But I will be live streaming from Kimberly Stotzer on YouTube.com and starting in a couple of weeks. And I'll post ways that you can follow me on YouTube, follow me on Instagram, so that as we launch Future Wives Club, it kind of has a life of its own and you have the ability to make comments and exchange things. It's going to be lovely. Also, even though this is about it for tonight, Pastor Nick is going to come on. There's a prophetic hour. He's got another prophet stationed in Paris that he is partnered up with outside of here, and they're gonna go live and they're gonna talk about some awesome things at around 6:30. So please come back, be a part of that conversation, that exchange. It's gonna be amazing. And in the meantime, I invite you to share this with your friends, share this with your girlfriends. I am not sexist. Men are allowed, absolutely. As long as you understand that I'm talking to the women, you feel free to pull up a chair and listen and learn. I know I'm the kind of woman that I love to hear men talk about relationships because I wanted to understand their perspective and also figure out how I could be like more relevant in the way I was relating based on a man's perspective. So I'm totally open to that. If you're a dude but you want to join the club just to listen in, that's fine, as long as you know we're going to get real from a lady's perspective. I'm going to be talking to the ladies while we're doing this. So, man, that's all. Like, I might not even know you, but I already love you. Of course, Selly, what up? Love you. Vivian, love you, girl. All of those who are already connected, I look forward to having these conversations and going in depth, answering questions, maybe having some interviews with some of you so that we could answer some of those questions live and talk about situations that have happened in the past and how we can learn from them. We're going to have a really good time. We're going to have a really good time. All right, everyone. As for now, I just want to say, what you see around you in the world, what you see around you in media, even in your friendships, doesn't determine what your future is going to be. Just because you've seen relationships fail around you, that doesn't get to dictate to you that your relationships will fail, that your relationships won't be successful. We are making choices every day that determine what's going to take place in our future. The grass is greener where you water it. It's not greener on the other side. It's greener where you water it. So hear me, even though you may have seen people in your family have really unhealthy relationships, even though your friends may have some unhealthy relationships, or you're not seeing anything positive in media, hear me, that does not determine what you're going to experience, what you're going to face. You get to learn, get wisdom, get understanding, make different choices, or affirm the great choices that you've been making and turn them up so that you're even stronger in what you're bringing to the table. And you'll see, even though we can't control the choices that others make, we do have the opportunity to choose who we get into these precious relationships with. And we have the opportunity to choose how we're going to engage to be the best friend, the best girlfriend, the best fiance, and the best wife possible, so that you can stand before heaven and say, I was pure in my heart. I did my very best. And know that like even God is blessing it because you brought your best no matter what. And I'm here to support you. I'm here to encourage you. I'm here to bring facts up to light and talk about wisdom on how to apply them. And I want to say, Hey, let's look forward with optimism to the future because you do get to choose. You have a choice. I keep feeling drawn to that word choice. It's almost as if somebody watching has felt like a victim, like they didn't have a choice. Like this whole thing was being run for them and they're just trying to catch a break. I'm here to tell you, sis, today's your day because you actually get to decide how you're going to relate to people, who you want to be in a relationship with, how you're going to present yourself. Listen, it can be a sensitive topic, but some of us actually don't present ourselves in the way that's most consistent with our identity. Oh, yeah, it's not about looks. And, we don't want a shallow man. Okay, for sure. But even the scripture says, man looks at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. But listen, you trying to get a man, not God. You already got God's heart. And so are you presenting yourself in such a way so that the man who would be a good husband for you can identify you as his spouse? Can he identify you by your presentation? Or does he have to have eyes that can read your mind to know who you truly are inside? We're even going to get into that because it's important and it's not about any kind of shame or discouragement, but hey, if I could do it better, isn't that good? If you could discover a way to better show who you really are and the woman that you would be in a relationship as a wife, when you want to do that so that your husband could identify you, man, I know specifically I would and did and continue to want to do that because I'm already married, but I want you to be able to identify me as someone who's a loving coach for you. I want my children to identify me as the kind of mother that loves and supports them and as a model for the kind of wife that they should look for. I want to help you be identified. I want to help you be identified by that man that you're seeking, who is also seeking you. There are more people turning their eyes toward marriage and companionship and family now. So many more than there were 1, 2, 3 years ago. Because we're realizing, yeah, it may be fun to hop around, but at the end of the day, hopping around doesn't make someone there for you. It turns out that it's not real after all. And sis, I want to tell you, you're not the only one looking for something real. There are sisters around you realizing we want something more real. There are brothers around realizing they want something more real. But to get to what's real, we also need to open ourselves up. And remember, Future Wives Club does come from a faith-based approach. So we need to say, God, what do I need to know? What do I need to shift? Or how can I improve the way I relate to others? You could be a fiercely loyal, fiercely loving woman. But when you open your mouth, people can't tell what's in your heart because somehow some other things are coming out. The way you relate isn't the same thing as the way you love. Have you ever been loved by a man who you were sure loved you, but he mistreated you like every day? I hope not, but some of us have. If you've ever loved someone who said like with passion they love you, so you knew it was true, but they also mistreated you all the time, then you know what I mean by the fact that loving someone and relating well to them in a relationship are different things. It's important that we learn the difference and that we learn not only how to love with our heart, meaning have affection, but also how to love well, meaning how do we live out love in a way that's consistent with what love is. Guys, we're going to have such a good time. We're going to have such a good time. And even now, what's up, Keisha? I love you, girl. What's up? I see you. Even now, like if you're listening to me and you're thinking, yeah, I got some topics I want to hear about already. Come on, go ahead and post them, put them in the chat, or even instant message them if you feel like they're sensitive, because I'm interested in hearing from you and making sure that we're covering the things that really get to your heart, right? I love you too. So, hey, Nikki, what's up, girl? I love you too. Oh, man. So I think we've all lived enough life to know that we don't want fake things anymore. I think we've all lived enough to know that we want something real or we want nothing at all. If that's where you are, if you are at the either I want something real, something true, something solid, or I don't want anything at all, this is the perfect place for you. This is the perfect place for you. If you decided, give it to me raw, give it to me real, give it to me true, or forget about it, then I'm telling you, I am agreeing to do that for you because that is exactly what we need. And you are not the only one who has arrived at that place. Amen. So I'm going to put my stories out there. I'm going to hug and kiss my husband afterward, just in case any of them are embarrassing. And by the way, thank you, hubby, for stopping the children from playing that very loud game in the next room. I love you. That was crazy. You did it. Thank you, babe. But on the real, yeah, I look forward to this time with you. So, that's it. We're going to just take these 30 minutes early in the week, right? Motivation Monday, early in the evening, maybe right after work for some of you. Come in here together, talk about how we're improving our relationships, things that we might even be able to practice that same week. Hey, I see a question. What does it mean to know what I want? Now, that's my husband coming in with some deep question. I love it. Yeah, what does it mean to know what I want? That's a great question. How do you know what you want? How do you know what you even want in a man? Have you had enough experience to tell you not just what you don't want, but what you do want? It's really important not to just have a list of what you hate to see in a man, but to have a list of what you love, because focusing on what you love, on what's good, on what's excellent, on what's virtuous, on what's praiseworthy, that is how you get there, not by focusing on what you wanted to get rid of. Because what you don't want will already be excluded by focusing on what you do want and identifying that. Knowing what you don't want can help you find what you do want, but you want to focus on what you want. And how do you know what that is? That's a great topic. We'll definitely do that. I'll definitely do that. All right, y'all. I love you. Thank you for joining me. I know it was spontaneous. I know it was unexpected, but I'm going to come on this week and next week and just get you used to the fact that we're going to be on from 5:30 to 6, so that we can ramp up this club, so that we can get into these topics. I appreciate you taking a moment tonight. I'm really excited. Yes, number one priority, to love your man through God. That's beautiful. If you love God more than him, that's the best partner you can be. If you can find a man who loves God more than you, I'm telling you, you're already on your way. But we'll talk about all these things because you want a man who's spiritually developed, just like you're spiritually developing, right? Intellectually, emotionally, physically. There's some physical elements to marriage, all that. So we're going to get into it. And I love you and I appreciate you being here. I'm going to slide off so my husband can go live and get all prophetic in a little while. But please, share this with your friends. Put it in your calendar. Mondays, 5:30 p.m. to 6 p.m. We're going to go live. We're going to get real about relationships, the Future Wives Club. Peace and blessings. Good night, y'all. I don't know what I'm doing.